Hey guys, how's it going? Today, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to replace the controller in this MX125 Razor dirt bike. So, let's get started. Before we get started, guys, if this video ends up helping you, please consider commenting, and subscribing to my channel because it really does help out smaller channels like mine. So now, let's get started with this video. Alright, before we get started, I'm going to show you the exact controller I used right here from Amazon. It is currently unavailable, but I got it for $25, 24 bucks, around there. But if this is not the right one for you, this is an MX125. You just go to Amazon, type in Razor, controller, MX, whatever kind of dirt bike you have, and then dirt bike. And then you will get all these different options. This is for the MX500, the E200, E300, so on and so forth. So these all work the exact same. Some of them will be a little bit bigger, obviously, for the bigger bikes. For the 125, it is the smallest controller, obviously, but they are all mounted in the same place and use the same screws to undo and replace them. So the processes will be the same for all the different bikes. So let's go ahead and install this controller now. Alright, here is that controller. So let's go ahead and install it in this bike. The first thing we're going to want to do is turn it to the power off and make sure that it is off. This is important so we don't zap ourselves. And then we're going to unscrew the 3 screws on the outside of this case. And they are where the arrows are pointing and where I am unscrewing. It was kind of hard to not get in the way of this, but you will see the 3 screws you need to undo and unscrew those. Alright, once we got all those screws removed, we can pop off that cover. And then we can turn the bike around and do the same exact thing. They will be in the same location as the other side. Alright, now we need to set that last cover aside, and then we can go ahead and remove the battery. So we need to remove this battery in order to get to the controller and remove it. Because you will notice if you try to remove the controller without removing the battery, you will not have enough clearance to get a screwdriver in there. So first we need to get a hex wrench and remove the battery. And then, of course, we need to turn it around and do the same exact thing on the other side and remove that screw holding in that battery. Alright, once we get that last screw removed, you will see a bracket holding that battery on, and you can wiggle that bracket on out of there, unplug the one plug plugging into the dirt bike from the battery, and then remove the battery itself. Next, you can take your small screwdriver and unscrew the 2 screws holding up the actual controller itself. So the screws will be right here, and you just get a small screwdriver that you can fit into that narrow space and get those screws unscrewed so you can completely remove the controller. So once you get one screw removed, like before, you can switch the bike around and then remove the screw on the other side. It's going to be in the same location as the opposite side. So we can just get in our little screwdriver and remove that annoying little fidgety screw. Once we get that screw removed, our controller will be loose, and this means that we can get ready to install the new controller. So how we can install the new controller by making sure everything is plugged in to the right outlet is first, all of the outlets are different, so you can't really mess it up. But what I like to do is unplug one and plug in the other. So I'll unplug this one and plug in the same looking cable, and then do the same for all the other cables. Alright, once you get all the cables but these last two blue and red ones plugged in, what you're going to want to do is lift back the front of this dirt bike, this plastic piece right here, and you're going to have to put your fingers on up there and unplug those red and blue wires. So we're going to remove those last two wires, and then our old controller will be free and we can remove it completely. Once we got that controller removed, we can go ahead and plug in our blue and red wires to the spots they were plugged in before, and we can note the orientation. It is blue on the right, red on the left, blue next to black, which you should have left plugged in. But once we get those two last wires plugged into the appropriate spots and all the other plugs are plugged in besides the battery, we can go ahead and start putting this thing back together. So we can go ahead and plug the battery in so everything is nice and working, and we can give it a quick test, and we can see, boom, it jumps forward and the bike is indeed working. So we know it's working, we know the controller fixed our bike, so we can go ahead and start assembling everything now. Go ahead and grab our screwdriver, and we are going to want to do everything in the opposite of when we took it apart. So that means putting the controller on first and then the battery. So we can go ahead and grab our small screwdrivers, screw back on that controller, and then we can bolt in our battery with our hex screwdriver and make sure everything is snug. Once we get everything in place, we can cable manage the wires a little bit so they're out of the way, so that we can get on the cover and put this 3 screws on the cover back on so that we can protect everything from water, rain, or damage. And once you have this cover on, that is basically it. You have a fixed Razor dirt bike. And that is it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hoped you learned how to fix the controller in your Razor dirt bike, and hopefully fix any issues you have with your Razor dirt bike. So again, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because again, it does really help out smaller channels like mine. So again, guys, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.